Hello, my lionesses. How are you today? I know you're experiencing that unstoppable energy, right? Because we are unstoppable on this side, for real. I am like, I'm over the word excited. I really am because I say I'm excited all the time. But this is beyond excitement. I'm ecstatic. That's my word for today. I'm ecstatic because I have one of my lionesses from last week's show joining us today, Lioness Neo. I'm so stoked. I really, really am. Hello, my sister.
Hello, my sister. And as you can see, I dressed appropriately for the event, and I am joyous and beyond excited. It is so good to reconnect after the powerful retreat that we had and time
Yes.
together to celebrate women empowerment. There are no words to explain it.
That's true.
It was really that special.
Do you know what that is exactly what I've been telling people when they were like, how was your trip? And I was like, I can't articulate it. It was just to say it was amazing does not give it the credibility that it deserves. It was just, and this was funny, guys. So every day we came up with a new word to describe what that day was like. I mean, we went from amazing to magnificent to fantastic to
Phenomenal.
phenomenal. It was just like, whoo, and every day got better and better. It just got better and better. So I have a question for you. After experiencing that type of power, and camaraderie and sisterhood, how have you absorbed it post the retreat? How has it affected you post the retreat?
Clarity.
Mm.
A newfound clarity about how much we're more alike than we are different. Here we were in rooms and situations with women from around the world. I don't think the audience understands or the lionesses understand. We had representation from Ukraine, UK, Australia, Puerto Rico, Cuba, United States, um, where else? Lebanon. I mean, it was the world, the United Nations, and all the women at their core were the same. We're seeking the same freedom of expression. We're seeking the same power and empowerment that their voices be heard, that they can walk their personal journey fully.
Yes.
It was like a resurgence that I received and I desperately needed.
Mm.
One of the things that my husband, when I got back, said to me, well, how do you feel? And I said, I'm off the hamster wheel
I
and
love
I'm
that.
living in my real journey, my real purpose. I
Mm.
understand why God brought me back fully now. And, it was that clarity. That's the powerful word that for me came back from that trip. And it simply special. So there's just no other, there are no words.
One of the things that you just said was monumental that we all went there basically on the same premise of seeking clarity. Now, what you just said is like, yes, the four corners of the globe were represented in that space and in that place. And every woman in her own right was a powerhouse to herself. You know what I'm saying? They already with followings, already, on their trek to greatness. But there was something very humbling about us all coming together. And there were no big eyes, no little U's, including the host, okay,
Mhm.
who like is this, I call her this media maverick. But it was just like, it was just a group of women coming together to support each other in transitioning to our next. That's how I came away with it. It was like it was so powerful for us, each and every one of us, to bond in a special way with each other. And we left there holding each other up, even though we got there not knowing each other,
That is
meeting each other for the
extremely
first time.
well, that, that is extremely well said. We came knowing a bit. It's like almost like you have that little bit about every person. You've collaborated with them, but in a box. We were all in little boxes.
Mm-hmm.
And we literally met for the first time all together.
Yeah.
And it was electrifying. And one thing that you stated is something that I think people need to understand. When you are all in one spirit, the Lord will let you give your talent to that person at the right time and at the right space. We all gave each other gifts as we needed to, without planning it. It just happened naturally. Those separate conversations that were in the garden or in the pool, or maybe just in the waiting for our next turn to be on camera.
Yes.
It didn't matter. It was those small moments that we carried each other that made the difference. That's where the clarity came from. It wasn't that gave us clarity. It was the entirety that gave us clarity.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You cannot just put your finger on one specific moment. It was, as you said, it was the collective.
Yes.
It was the collective, and that collective energy. There was such a powerful energy that was disseminated amongst us. I said this on the last show that, women have been sold a lie, that we can't trust one another. We can't come together. We can't collaborate with one another. And the reason we've been sold the lie is because of the immense power that we carry when we do come together. And this is something that was interesting to me too, because what you just said, Neil, about the spirit, like the spirit just connected us. We were not all of the same quote unquote faith journey.
Mm-mm.
But that did not matter. It was that one collective spirit that was between us. And that was interesting to me as well, because especially women that are kingdom minded or consider themselves quote unquote Christians, they feel like, they have to be in this box and they have to act this way and they have to talk this way and, and present this and whatever. And that is so far from the truth. When you cross over into a kingdom perspective and a spiritual perspective and come out of religiosity, then you can put all that madness aside and you can connect the word of God, because I am, and you are as well, women of faith. And so we believe in the Bible. But one of the things that the Bible tells us is try the spirit by the spirit. Not what they're audibly saying, try the spirit by the spirit. And our spirits connected.
Absolutely. And I'm going to give everybody an example of that. We're all women, okay? I don't care who you are as a woman. You have your moment that you're going to be a little petty.
Mm-hmm.
We all do it. It's just part of our life.
Yes.
But I have to tell you that as soon as that energy started coming up, we'd walk away from it.
Exactly. We wouldn't entertain it.
It was amazing. I mean,
it was crushed. It was
crushed. I mean, guys, I am telling you, being in a room that someone says something that's out of their character, it's out of their character. And they say it because of frustration of other things. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And instead of people joining in, everybody's like, nope, we're not going there. And we supported that person to bring them out of that energy. Yes. Instead of joining into the energy, we lifted her up.
Absolutely.
And it happened to all of us.
It
Because we
did.
all had that moment. I
Right.
had that moment.
Right.
You know, and I actually felt lifted up and said, no, girl, we're letting that go. We're not going there. Come on,
We're
come
not
on.
going there. That's it. We're not going there.
We're not going
Going
there.
there.
Come on. And it was so liberating. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, wow, I don't gotta go there. I don't have to act like a fool. Thank you.
Okay.
Amazing.
You know
Amazing.
what? If you choose not to entertain mess, mess can't stay.
No.
Mess is only allowed to grow if you entertain it.
That's right.
Once you shut it down, it's over.
It's over.
It's over. And by the end, we were all so connected that you didn't even remember the craziness that each one had to say at whatever given point in time.
It didn't even matter.
Didn't matter.
Because it was just a moment in time. That's exactly what it was. It was a moment in time of frustration. And it was funny because we realized very quickly that that was coming in, not because of what was happening, because of other external things that were happening in our personal lives or whatever, but it had nothing to do with the moment. And we just tore that paper up and walked away.
Mm.
And I will tell you, ladies, that is a power that you have.
Yes. Yes.
That is a power that the Lord gives you to not fester in something that doesn't serve you. That you can walk away and walk into his light and feel the gratitude that he gives you, that discernment, that you can make that decision, that choice. And if we didn't have it, we sure got it in that retreat.
Yeah, yeah. You know what really also amazed me is so many different cultures that came together while we were there. Because as you just said, I mean, we were spread from so many different countries and so many ethnicities and different backgrounds and what have you. I found it very interesting that it did not make a difference. You know, it was not an issue at all.
Nope.
It was literally, we were sisters.
Yeah.
It didn't matter where we came from. We were sisters. We were sisters. I want to touch on that a minute because I know that you being Cuban American have had to adjust and deal with some different challenges with expressing your ethnicity, you know, in its totality, because you're not just American, you're not just Cuban, you're not just a Black woman. You come from such a diverse background. And I've watched, one of the things I watched you, how I appreciated it, because we all appreciated the fact that you could speak Spanish. None of us. So it's like we wanted to talk to somebody. Hey, Neil, come here. But the fact that you have embraced every facet of your ethnicity. I want to just kind of fast forward now. We've unfortunately left Spain. But dealing with just, I know, right? Dealing with just, I don't know, the proclivities that we live within in this day and time, and especially in America. How important is it to you to make sure that you embrace the totality of who you are without reservation?
You know, that has been a conscious decision that I had to make very early on in my life. When I was in grammar school and high school, I actually grew up in a Hispanic community. Most of the people in our neighborhood were Cuban. So, you know, I came to America when I was 4 years old, and it was an immigrant community. Most of the people had come to America during those years, and their parents, my parents, established businesses. And the things with Cubans is we have nowhere to go. There's no return to Cuba. We came to America in exile, basically told we would never be welcome back. So when Cubans came to America, we basically had to become American accept America and own. And I think that Cubans have a tendency to have a greatest love for this country because it opened the doors for us. So my parents made a point of making sure that we kept our language and our customs, but at the same time respected and loved the American culture too. So I always had my foot in both boats, in the American boat and the Cuban boat. And I learned both and had the privilege of honoring both cultures. But that caused strife. I remember being in college and wanting to join a sorority and being rejected because I was Cuban and being told, stick to your own kind. And that was obviously, just not knowing, ignorance, not knowing, not understanding. And I said, but when I walk into a room, people see a Black woman. They don't see a Cuban. There's no accent. They don't know there's a Cuban here. If I don't say it, nobody knows it, you know? But they didn't see it that way. And it was okay because it was a learning. I always see things as learnings and how I move forward. And now, today, with what's going on in America, the safety of being a Cuban that never was going to be tried to send back to that country or kicked out of America, that's gone. The new rules have changed. Now, I am an American citizen. I've been an American citizen since I was 7 years old. My parents are American citizens. We came through the Red Cross into this country, and we went through the naturalization process, and we're American citizens, not a problem. However, so many people that I know are in jeopardy. Even though they came into this country legitimately, they are now saying that they're taking their naturalization away. But they can't go back to Cuba because Cuba won't accept them. So they have nowhere to go. Imagine not being a citizen of Cuba, not being a citizen of America, not being a citizen of the world. Someone taking your humanity that need to have their power from being a silent power to a vibrant power. And that is my purpose at this time, is to help women that normally are living in fear, move out of fear, move into their purpose, and find their voice.
I love that. Tell me, I know that you have a book, and the name of your book, I believe, is Joy Notes, and you are having it translated into Spanish, and it'll be released in a couple of months. Tell us a little bit about Joy Notes, because just the sound of it, it's like it brings a smile, like Joy Notes. Oh, it's like you can hear a song with joy and what have you. But tell us a little bit about it.
Well, my story my story is one that started with illness and the journey of going from trauma into triumph. And the name of the book is Joy Notes, Balancing the Trauma with Triumph. And the core of the book is the journey with God and music. Because music is the ever open translator. You see, you can listen to music and it doesn't matter what language it's in, it gets in your soul. Yes. And you feel it. Yes. And it heals. So I wrote the book in English first, telling my story of being a survivor of 2 cardiac arrests and multiple life-threatening illnesses, and how I was able to use my love of God and the love of music in order to bring myself into triumph. And it tells the story of 5 other women that basically did the same thing. One being my pastor, Pastor Tanya, and also other sisters in Christ. I even have a woman that's Jewish in the book. And that's because Religion is not the anchor. The Lord, the higher power, is the anchor. Um, the book Forward was written by Gloria Gaynor. Gloria
Oh,
Gaynor is a great sister in Christ.
oh my
She used to
goodness.
be our choir director in church.
Okay.
And she has also the disco chapter. You see, every chapter in the book comes with its own playlist on Spotify.
Mm,
And it is a empowerment of how you can use music to heal your soul and
yeah.
get your journey back on path. So it's powerful. It's a wonderful book. And I wanted to give it to the Hispanic community also as a gift. So the right now in 2 weeks, the books will be in early um, order, pre-order.
You order?
And the book is going to be released October 8th on Amazon,
It's
Barnes
before
and
my birthday.
Nobles, and
Okay.
everything else you could think of. And we're very excited about it. But the most important thing is knocking on the doors of my sisters in Christ that speak Spanish and letting them know that there is hope, that they have the power to transcend any trauma. They are unstoppable. And I wanted to put it in their words. I wanted to give them a vehicle. And that's why Notas de Alegría is coming out October 8th.
That is amazing. I absolutely love that. I really do. Because you start every morning off with joy notes. I've seen it on LinkedIn. It's like, you are that joyous person that, helps to encourage the soul. Seriously. And it's very, very important, especially for our lionesses today, our women, because there are so many things that are coming at us in various different ways to try to set us back, and eradicate all the forward momentum that we have had in expressing our rights and gaining the respect of just being a woman.
Mhm.
Just that's I mean, just the fact that you are a woman, you may be a woman in corporate America, as I know you came from, where you were shunned. You may be a woman in ministry where you've been told, women shouldn't preach. Just all of these different things that we have encountered. I know with Lioness Warrior Kingdom, we talk about helping women heal from multiple different abuses, from molestation to domestic abuse to societal abuse, just
Mhm.
because you're a woman.
Yep.
Just because you're a woman, and we still have to fight as the word said, fight the good fight of faith, and maintain our composure as we do it. Because the first thing, and especially as a Black woman, the first thing you're labeled as is angry. Oh, I'm not angry.
Aggressive.
And
Aggressive.
aggressive.
She's so
Yes,
aggressive. She's so angry. You
I'm
know,
angry, but I'm confident in who I am. And I'm confident in the fact that I will not allow anyone to devalue who God has created me to be. And I know you walk in that as well.
absolutely. Being a woman is I love the fact when I met you and I understood that you went with Lioness. Oh, it just truly impacted my heart because the lioness cares for its fold. See, the lioness is taking care, and the eyes are behind her head, to the sides, everywhere. And it's always taking care of all. And that's what we are as women. We're always caring for others. But you see, the lioness also stands in her strength and understands that she needs to be taken care of too. And we have to take care of ourselves in this situation that we're living in. Yes, they're taking away rights. Yes, they're taking away what they think will make us be quiet and silent. But, honey, we've overcome everything. We know how to come through pain, how to come through bad situations. We've healed our sick family members. We've helped our children grow into masterful professionals. So, with the power of God, we are unstoppable.
Absolutely.
But we first need to take care of ourselves because otherwise the bank is empty. So, we have to have a full bank to put on the armor and go into battle.
Absolutely.
I am not afraid of what's going on in this country. It's a moment in time.
Yes.
They need to be afraid when we all get together and march forward.
Which is why they try to keep us divided.
That's right.
Exactly why they try to keep us divided, but we will not be divided. You know, this is why we are so vocal about sisterhood and why it's so important. And again, with the lioness, it's like there is a sisterhood between the lionesses that it's totally unbreakable. Totally unbreakable. And I love to see the clips where, you know, the hyenas or whoever will try and corner one lioness. Girlfriend lets out that roar, and you can just see her sisters. And they're like, oh, And wait, and not only her sisters, but the lions come too. Okay. The lions come to support the lionesses as well. I always like to make sure that people understand our perception of who we are as lionesses when it comes to our kings, comes to our lions, is we are not in competition at all. We are there to align ourselves with you, your mission, your vision, and help you be even stronger as that king you were created to be. We were never created to be in competition, ever. When you think about a help meet, how am I going to help you if I'm competing against you? You know, and I say this all the time because this is just my take on it. When God crafted woman, he put a little something, something extra because he knew what we needed. He knew what our shoulders had to bear. Yes, men are strong, but we have to be emotionally strong. We have to be spiritually strong. We have to be no nonsense when it comes to standing for our families, you know? And that person, that one that's propping our kings up, going, baby, you got it. Baby, you can do it. Baby, I got you. I got you. You know? And so we need to understand you can't do that being in competition. You cannot. You cannot. But a true queen in all of her regal gala and that majestic aura that she carries, it's there to make sure that the king, the prince, the princess, all of them know who they are.
Absolutely. That is so well said. And it's historical. If you take the time to actually understand history and you go into African history, or you can even use, UK history, whatever you want to do. Every time that there has been a queen, the queen is an advisor. The queen is the COO, handling all operations, ensuring that that king is lifted up. And the rest of the leaders of that kingdom are safe and also growing in continuous improvement and continuous growth. That's the queen. That's what the queen does. And I'm going to tell something that I think is really, really important for our young lionesses. Do not waste your time believing that all young men are against you.
Thank you. Say that again, please.
Do not waste your time believing that all young men of your generation are against you. There are many brothers, more than you can imagine, that are looking for their lioness, that are looking for their partner, that are looking to create their kingdom. Stop looking for pretty. Look for substance. Because pretty wears off. Pretty can get hurt and get ugly. But substance, substance is going to be there throughout. And I'm going to tell you, ladies, you are strong, you are beautiful, you are unstoppable. But there is a beautiful thing of having someone by your side. Someone that's there to the good, to the bad. And as you're lifting him up, he lifts you up. As you're having a bad day, he makes dinner. As you're having a good day and he's having a bad day, you made dinner. My husband and I'm just giving you, I don't know why this is coming out. I swear to you, I do not.
Needed. That's why.
But I am going to tell you what is the number one mantra in my marriage. We out-kind each other. And I'm going to give you the silliest example. I bought this little picture frame. It has a picture of him and me. And it says, I got you. And I put it on our glass to our patio door. And I didn't realize that every time the patio door opened, it was slamming. Know what he did? Bought another frame and a hook so it would lay flat. And he says, it's a little thing, but I wanted to perfect the fact that we got each other.
Love that.
You can, if you want to, find that other person that is a supplement to you. Doesn't carry you, but makes you feel better. And you make them feel better. Stop being silly. Let the Lord guide you.
Yes.
When I stepped away from what I thought was the right man, and I let the Lord guide me, oof, he blessed me fully. And forgive me because I know that's not in the scope of what we were going to talk about today.
It's okay.
But something in my heart just said I needed to share that.
Yes, I'm in such agreement with you. I used to say this all the time. And I think finally my husband got used to what I was saying. But I was like, I didn't pick my husband. In fact, my husband came at me for 10 years before I would really even get the time of day. It was like, no, you're not the one. However, he was the one that God picked for me. And I'm so grateful. I am so grateful. Before he transitioned, we celebrated 31 good years in the second marriage. Okay, first one wasn't as great, but that second one, when God said this thing must be, I'm so grateful for it. And here's what I believe, that just as you said, when you stop trying to find and allow, as the word says, he that findeth a wife, findeth a thing. Y'all stop out there trying to do all these booty calls and do everything you think you need to do to try to get.
Girl, it's exhausting.
Let him, ain't it? Let him find you. But where would he find you? In the will of God. He needs to find you operating in your fullness of your greatness. You do not dumb down yourself just to prove something. You do not have to be the aggressor. You do not have to do all the things that society and the world will try to convince you of. And here's my other thing. I tell young ladies, if the man can't carry you in the spirit, he does not need to carry you across the threshold. Straight out. Straight out. My husband carried me in the spirit. Okay. And when he was a young man and virile, that protective side of him, I never, child, please don't, you better be careful how you look at me, let alone step to me wrong. Okay. As he got older and he dealt with some illnesses and some physical things, it didn't stop him from protecting me. He covered me every single day in prayer. Every morning. Do you hear me? Every morning that man got up and prayed for me. All right. You need somebody that can carry the weight of glory that God has placed upon you. So when Neil says, stop looking for pretty, pretty don't cut it. It's like, can he appreciate who God crafted you to be? Who he created you to be. What I've always said is that my husband never tried to change me. He was my greatest cheerleader. I am a very strong-willed, independent woman, but he allowed the femininity of me, that feminine side of me, to go and rest in him. Okay? You have to appreciate that.
Yes. And when you meet that man, you are safe in his presence.
Yes. Yes.
I'm going to tell you, I was an executive in corporate America, a high-level executive. My smallest staff was 2,500 people. So you have to understand, I was in boardrooms, and I still am in boardrooms of Fortune 500 companies. And know that with that carries a lot of weight. Mm-hmm. But you need a man that when you go home, he's not jealous of you. You need a man that when you go home, you could be a woman. As Dr. James just said, you could step into your femininity. And he embraces you as a whole woman. You need a man that is cheering you on from the sidelines in true God-centeredness. And he is just there and he's like, yeah, that's my girl. That's my girl. Try to step. That's my girl.
Okay.
And that's the whole thing. We spend so much time searching instead of giving it to God. And then when God puts it in front of us, instead of being ignorant and saying, well, no, I'm not used to that. I don't want that. Letting God handle the situation.
Yes.
Being open to God's vision for us. My husband is so different than all the dudes I used to date. Completely different.
Mine too. Okay? Yes, he was.
Yet, I never felt happier or more blessed when I am in his presence. And that was even early on. I didn't even understand it. I remember we had lunch. That was our first quote unquote date. And I spent the whole time, it's like, what am I doing with this guy? But why am I so happy being with this guy right now? And then I said, you know what, God? I'm going to go with the flow. I'm going to let you direct it. 20 years later, I live in gratitude. My lionesses, you are worthy of marriage. You're worthy of companionship. You just need to get out of your own way.
Yes, ma'am. I love the way this conversation took
what a turn, huh?
A turn. I love it because I absolutely know that multiple lionesses needed to hear this today. Not just a lioness, but multiple. Because again, society has put crazy in our head, and we need to step out of it. We really, really do. My cute little thing about my husband, because I was always into bad boys for some reason. I was growing up. And I do know the reason. And the reason being was because I was always protecting me. And so I wanted to make sure I had somebody that could equally protect me if it came down to it, which my husband wanted to being just that. But I remember my mother, before she transitioned, told me one day, she said, you know, that man really loves you. You ought to marry him. I was just like, you marry him. I don't want him. And I think it was the thought that my mother liked him. It was just like, oh, something got to be wrong because she don't like nobody. But you know what? She knew. She saw. See, I was looking at my life at that time. This was BC, before Christ, and my life was moving in such a rapid pace. And I mean, and as you understand, being in that corporate position, I was that world traveler, being in that entertainment sphere, right? And meeting all of these different people and knowing all of these different people. And so because my life was on that fast track, I felt like, brother man, you can't keep up with this. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
but what I missed was what was inside. Like my husband was very laid back, quiet a lot. And then he could have that voice and that opinion, but I am that, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. And he is like, well, let's just chill for a minute. Let's just check this out for a minute. It was the perfect balance. It was the perfect balance because I needed somebody to get me to chill out. His joy in life was to make me laugh. I'm such a serious person most of the time. And it would be like stupid. So I was like, you just stupid. But I'm saying it while I'm cracking up, right? Okay. That was what he loved. He's like, I love to see that smile on your face. You need somebody that balances you. You don't need a mirror image of who you are. You need balance. You can be his balance and he can be your balance. So understand, when God puts it together, he has a purpose for it coming together the way it does. Embrace the purpose. We are down to 42 minutes gone.
So just one last thing. I love
that's what I was getting ready to tell you. I need you to wrap it up. I need you to give your last thought, and then I need you to tell people how they can reach you.
Absolutely. I just want you to know, I love the last statement, which was, God will give you that person that is of balance. All I say to you is, let God give you different than what you think is right. Because I will tell you, what you think is right has not been working. So let God give you what's right. So, you can reach me on neocairo.com. You can reach me on LinkedIn at neocairo. And you can also enjoy my joy notes every day, inspiration on leadership and how to personally balance your professional journey. Also have a wonderful LinkedIn newsletter that's called Joy Beats. And please, as Dr. James will be joining soon, join us in Joy and Gratitude, my podcast, which is an incredible podcast about how we entangled or just basically take all those knots out and move ourselves into flow. And we talk about what nobody wants to talk about, all those little hidden things that make life difficult. And all I say to you, Lionesses, you can do anything in your life, but you have to be willing to change. The door is open to you. Make a choice.
Through it.
Through it.
Thank you so much, Neil. I love you so much, and I'm so grateful. Thank you for sharing your heart with my Lionesses.
It's a privilege. I can't wait to have you on our podcast and be with the Joy community. And ladies, please join us there too. Just know that this queen that is before you changes lives. She is here to help you in the best way possible. Don't ever walk away from this opportunity, because you have some amazing things you have to do. And this is your vehicle for empowerment. And I just have an honor to be here for a few seconds and enjoy.
I love it. All right, Lionesses, we're out of time. We got to go. But Lord willing, we'll check you out next week. God bless.